What's the dumbest thing you've ever seen happen at your school? There was a kid called Debo at our school, and he wasn't just a troublemaker in the usual sense, he was straight up crazy. He didn't pick fights or talk back out of bitterness or steal from lockers for sport. He operated on a completely different frequency, one the rest of us couldn't tune into no matter how hard we tried. Sophomore year, he convinced the entire cafeteria that the lunch ladies had been replaced by government actors by pointing out that Mrs. Patterson was wearing her hairnet slightly differently than usual. Everyone believed him, and within 20 minutes there were 40 kids lined up demanding to see identification. The vice principal spent 3 hours doing damage control. Junior year, he showed up to school picture day in a full suit carrying a briefcase, told the photographer his name was Business Debo, and that regular Debo was unavailable, and somehow the school printed it in the yearbook before anyone caught it. He once spent an entire month responding to every question from teachers, students, the principal, everyone, exclusively with questions. Debo, what is the capital of France? Mr. Henderson, what is the answer to life? The teachers started dreading calling on him more than failing their own performance reviews, but none of it came close to what he did senior year. You see, our school had this strange tradition called the Academic Governance Contest, which sounds more impressive than it was. Every spring, a math quiz was administered to the entire student body. The top 5 scorers advanced to a school-wide voting round, and whoever won the vote earned the right to change one rule at our school for a full week. Yep, you could change any rule, in theory that is. It had been running for 3 years, and in all 3 of those years, the winner was the same person, Marcus Ellis, the principal's son. A nerdy guy whose only ambition was to change the dress code so students could wear hats inside the building. Every single year, for one glorious week, students wore hats. Then the week ended, the hats came off, and everyone went home feeling vaguely cheated out of something they couldn't name. So when Mr. Henderson stood at the front of class and announced that this year's contest was starting, most of us didn't care, until Debo stood up. He turned to face the class, not Mr. Henderson, and started a speech that would put the president to shame. I'm entering the contest, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm telling you right now, we are not letting Marcus Ellis win again, so we can wear hats for 5 days like that's some kind of victory. We deserve better. This school deserves better. I'm going to win, and when I do, things are going to change. Yeah, no one clapped. Someone in the back said, Debo, they won't let you change anything real even if you win. He looked at them, nodded slowly like he'd anticipated that exact objection, and sat back down without another word. Truly, a politician. 3 days later, the quiz results were posted on the gymnasium board, and the entire school nearly shat their pants. Marcus Ellis was first, sure, but Debo was second. Our Debo was only 2 points off Marcus. The remaining 3 spots went to students from the honors program who immediately looked less proud of themselves than they had 60 seconds earlier. The teachers did not take this quietly, obviously. By the end of the day, Principal Ellis himself had pulled Debo into the office on the grounds that the scores were statistically inconsistent with his academic record. A polite way of saying they were certain he'd cheated and intended to prove it. They sat him in an empty classroom with a proctor and gave him the quiz again. He scored even higher. They gave it to him a 3rd time. Different proctor, different version. A room with no windows. He scored higher again. I don't even know how he did it, considering he had straight D's, but now they had no choice but to let him through. What followed was 2 weeks nobody will ever forget. Debo held rallies in the parking lot. He printed posters, actual full-color posters, that read Debo for Change, and papered every hallway from the freshman wing to the gymnasium, some placed at heights that suggested outside assistance he was not legally prepared to acknowledge. He gave a speech at lunch that lasted 11 minutes and included 2 rhetorical questions, 1 callback, and a visual aid. Marcus Ellis handed out pencils that said, hats are best. No one used them. Here's the thing. The moment we saw the results, we'd already decided who we were voting for, because a chance to make Principal Ellis panic was akin to winning $1 million. The assembly was held in the gymnasium on a Friday afternoon. Principal Ellis walked to the microphone with the energy of a man attending his own sentencing. He looked at his notes. He looked at Debo, who was sitting front row with a manila folder across his lap like it was the most important document in the building, which, as it turned out, it was. Then Principal Ellis spoke, slowly, like each word cost him something personal. This year's academic governance contest winner is Debo Minute. Literal thunderous applause. I think I heard someone say, stick it, Ellis, but let's ignore that. Debo was on his feet before the applause finished, walked to the stage at the speed of a man with somewhere important to be, shook the principal's hand with both of his, and turned to the microphone. Ellis moved to stand beside him, fully prepared to veto whatever came out of that folder, and he didn't wait long. I have a rule change, Debo said, opening it. Several, actually. He produced a stapled packet, multiple pages thick, and Ellis actually laughed. You're not changing several rules, Debo. You're not even changing any real rules. That's not what this contest is. Debo looked at him calmly. With respect, sir, the contest guidelines, which I have here, printed and signed by this school's administration, describe the winner as having the authority to institute temporary modifications to school policy for a period of no less than 5 school days within reasonable limits. It never says only one rule can be changed. There is also no definition of reasonable limits provided anywhere in this document. Ellis stared at him. You cannot enforce that. If you prevent me from doing so, Debo said, I'll have no choice but to pursue a lawsuit for breach or legal contract. The room went absolutely still. Ellis blinked, then did something that clearly cost him everything he had. He smiled. You're 17 years old, Debo. You can't sue me. You can't even hire a lawyer. Debo reached into the folder and produced his phone, already on a live call, and held it toward the microphone. I already did. Ellis took the phone, walked 2 steps away, had a 90-second conversation that included 3 slow nods and 2 instances of I see, then handed it back. We later found out the lawyer on the phone was our janitor, Mr. Kowalski, using a voice changer. But whatever Ellis heard on that call had done its job, because he turned back to the microphone, placed his hand on Debo's shoulder, and said through a smile that did not reach his eyes, the floor is yours. Debo unfolded his packet. Rule 1. All clocks in the building were to be set 17 minutes fast, meaning every class ended 17 minutes early. Rule 2. The vending machines in the East Hallway hallway were to be restocked with Mr. Beast chocolates. Rule 3. Morning announcements were replaced each day by a student-selected song, played in full, no interruptions. Rule 4. On Friday, all classes were to be held outside. That week became the only thing anyone talked about for the rest of senior year. The fast clocks meant no teacher could hold anyone past the adjusted time without violating a posted rule, and 3 of them found this out personally when Debo walked up at the 17-minute mark. The vending machines sold Mr. Beast chocolates, and the line stretched to the stairwell every passing period for 5 days straight. Monday's morning song was Lose Yourself, which the freshman class apparently hated and ended up destroying the speakers. Principal Ellis did his rounds with several dark circles under his eyes, like someone had taken his baby from him and he was trying to get it back. When the week ended, the school quietly retired the academic governance contest.